Hey everybody, welcome back to the vlog. Thank you so much for once again joining me for tea time. Today we're going to be hanging out a little bit, just talking about what happened in the week of photography as we do. Today we do have Stewart Wood with us once again, like we did last week, which is awesome. So that I don't have to do this alone and we can kind of chit chat. The thing that I really do like about these lives is that we're able to talk with you guys and answer questions that normally I can't do during the week when I'm just doing recordings. So this week was a big week. I think there was like 4 videos that I put out this week. So we're going to keep pushing this forward. Before we get into this conversation, I want to say that if you haven't went and downloaded my ebook as of yet, go check it out over at JCristina.com/ebook. Once again, JCristina.com/ebook, 10 tips in making tack sharp images. Something there for everyone. So go and check that out. Anyways, let's go ahead and bring in our wonderful guest for today, right? Our wonderful guest. How's it going? Are you with me? Can you hear me? Let me see. I don't got you through. Oh, there we go. I'm getting your audio now. I think so, at least.
Get me now?
No, I don't hear you. What is going on? Oh, there you go. Now we can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
How are you doing? How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Still in pain from this bad tooth I've got.
Yeah.
But I'm doing good. I'm doing good. And
Yeah,
it's
the last time
Cool.
we had you on, you had that toothache, that tooth pain, and then you were saying that you were going to have that fixed by the beginning of next week.
So what happened there is on the Monday I went in quite sure they're going to pull it out. And I psyched myself up saying, because I'm scared of dentists, but I psyched myself up saying, if she says, do you want it out? I'm just going to say yes, yes, yes. Okay. I went in there, they took a look, they go, oh yeah, that tooth's bad. We'll put you on some antibiotics and you can come back on the 24th.
Wow.
Like, seriously?
That's 3 weeks. So you got 3 weeks of pain. That's
3 weeks of, I'm on antibiotics now. I've got to finish that course. Then I'm on like daily painkillers to get rid of the pain. But it's mostly trying to keep the swelling down because obviously they can't pull it if it's swollen. So yeah, that's one of many reasons why I've not done many videos on my YouTube channel this last couple of weeks.
Wow, that's that's harsh. Sucks. That is harsh. I mean, so this week we're going to just kind of chit chat about some things that went on this week that I covered and that you were talking about. We kind of put some notes together about what we were going to speak about. And a lot of it has to do with Canon. Some of it has to do with Sony. Before we get into the Canon stuff, because I don't want you to start ranting as of yet. So before we get into the Canon stuff, let's get into the Sony thing. I did a piece at the beginning of the week, I think it was on March 30th, about this class action lawsuit, guys. Now, this class action lawsuit was one of these lawsuits that for me, I looked at it like, wow, that is not a good thing at all. But when I was reading through it and I read it for everyone, it literally looked like it was cobbled together by, I don't know, just like some children or something. It sounded like they put this action together. This is a class action lawsuit on like the kitchen counter or something, instead of done by a high paid, attorney. I don't know what happened. Did you watch that video?
Why don't we just go over it briefly as to what it's actually about for anyone who doesn't know what's going on with the Sony or is it the A7 III, isn't it? I believe that's the camera.
It is. It's the A7 III. It's probably, I guess, one of those cameras that I always say that photographers should look at purchasing because it's such a good camera. It was such a good value, I would say, just under $2,000, full frame. But now, of course, we have a lot of Nikons and we have a lot of Canons that people have options. And the problem with this Sony A7 III is they're having problems with their shutter. The mechanical shutter is actually ripping. It's getting hung up on the front side, the front edge of the camera when it's coming in and out or up and down. So that's a major problem. And there's a lot of people that are sending in pictures too of their shutter being ripped. And I think you know someone that actually had that problem, but they had to pay for it.
There's a UK YouTuber who had the problem. I'm pretty sure he had to pay for it. But yeah, his shutter ripped on the. It basically got caught as it comes down and just rips. and it's not with too many shutter actuations as well.
Really?
Talking 10, 20,000 odd, and that's it. Yeah, your shutter pops. I know, for instance, being a macro photographer, I can go. If I was to do macro every single day, I could easily do 500 shots a day. And you think about adding that up, you're talking a couple of months use before your shutter breaks in this instance.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's not good. It's not good, is it?
No, absolutely. That's not a lot for us, professionals. Normally, I bang through a lot of images per year. Yeah. I mean, I have in excess of, I think it's about 1.5 million, 1.6 million photos on my RAID server. So it's a lot over the many years that I've been doing this. So yeah, these shutters supposed to last for 200,000 actuations, and they're going bad after like 10,000, some less than 50,000. That is a major problem. And the thing is I want to see, obviously this is a crap lawsuit. It just wasn't cobbled together well. But if they find other lawyers, or maybe these lawyers will actually get it together and put additional motions in there that actually kind of, I would say, just carve out the actual facts and not all of this fluff. Because when you read the lawsuit, it's telling you about what the camera does. And I mean, you need a backstory, obviously. But the problem is the meat and potatoes is kind of convoluted too. So I don't know. It's not good. It's not good in my personal opinion. I don't know. So we'll see what ends up happening with that.
Was it the issue of when the shutter breaks after the 12-month warranty, people having to pay, is it upwards of $500 to get it fixed?
Yes, yeah, it was like, I think it was up from $500 to like $650 to actually have that shutter fixed. So you're talking about a lot of money for something that shouldn't really be the case. And matter of fact, let me grab something here. I spoke about this on the video. This right here. That right there is a mirror. So if anyone didn't watch that video, this is a mirror from inside of a Canon 5D. This is about 10 years ago or so. What was happening was, and you can see, let me hold that up. You see those little black dots right there? So that's the glue. That's like the glue stick dots this is the mirror. Obviously it has a OVF, not an EVF. This is the DSLR, and it would just flip back and forth. Well, anyway, this thing flipped straight out of the camera into my lens, the back end of the lens. Well, a Canon, they were not going to cover this. So luckily I had a channel that was doing pretty well. Obviously, this channel started coming up. There was thousands of people already on there. I put this out there. I said, does anyone else have this problem? I got a ton of response. So literally within about 3 weeks, 4 weeks, I got back with Canon, and Canon's like, you know what? We're going to take care of it. So I let everyone know about this. And sure damn enough, Canon started doing this as a recall, quote unquote. And anyone that had a Canon 5D Mark I with a problem, or like I told everyone that was following me at the time, doesn't matter if you have a problem or not, say that you have a problem and let them fix this, because it is a adhesive problem. And that's what they did. They sent in their cameras, and everyone was extremely happy about it. The same thing, I think, with this Sony problem, with this ripped shutter. I think that even if you don't have the problem, say that you do, say that you hear it locking up, you say that you hear something doesn't sound right or whatever, send it in, get it replaced, because it's an obvious point where you see, hundreds of photos of people having their sensors that are ripped, that are shredded up, that if you have a Sony a7 III, that could happen. Doesn't mean that it will, but it could happen. So just go have it replaced if they will do it for free. And I'm going to venture to say, once this class action lawsuit gets some, let's say ass behind it, okay, and there's a lot of people that are involved that are pissed off, I think Sony will be like, no problem. Just go ahead and send that camera in, and we will go ahead and fix that.
Yeah, as soon as it becomes bad publicity, they'll cave in.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, they've got to look good. They have to turn every situation into a good situation. And if they're going to turn around and say, you know what, screw you, we're not going to do nothing, that just looks bad on them.
That's true. Absolutely, 100%.
Now, if it is a manufacturer's defect, it should be fixed anyway.
No, I agree.
It shouldn't take for a lawsuit to kick a company up the arse to, fix their crap, basically.
Yeah, no, it's
the way
true.
I feel, anyway.
It's true, and the point of the matter is that a lot of times these companies, they do the bare minimum to get by, and we'll see what ends up happening with Sony. Like, I just view this. Obviously, I'm not a Sony shooter, but I don't really care because I'll crap all over Canon, and we will probably in just a minute if they do something that is just stupid, or if they do something that's against the users that are using their cameras. And a lot of these companies, they do it and there's like no recourse because no one talks about it. So I think getting involved with this type of thing and making almost like a PSA, a public service announcement, saying if you have a Sony Alpha, you have a 7.3, the A7 III, call up Sony and see if they have something going on as of yet to have it fixed. Tell them that there's a problem. And if not, wait. And when you see that all of a sudden they did put through a recall, a formal recall, do it immediately. That's my personal opinion.
They need to notify the customers as well. I've got a defective Canon 650D here. Okay. It was officially recalled because I don't know if I can get this to focus. Let me get rid of the chat window so I can have a look here. Put it in front of my eyes. There you go. And you can see the defect right there. The actual grips on the outside start turning white over time. But I didn't find out there was a defect with that until about 5 years after I bought it.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? And by that time, I was like, you know what? I'm not sending it back because I'm not sending it back for something as stupid as that. You know what I mean?
Right.
It does go through to the fact that, if there is a serious default, you need to get hold of the customers that have these cameras. And I know it can be hard if it's secondhand.
Right.
But in theory, if it's not secondhand and you bought it from a reputable retailer, they should be able to have your contact information. Just ping them straight out. Go, we've identified a fault. We're going to fix it for free. Balls in your court, whether you want to send it off or not.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Matter of fact, so in the chat here we have, let's see, AJ Booster says if it's truly a manufacturer defect, Sony should step up basically and fix it. And yeah, that's 110% correct. They really should. With these manufacturers, the problem is that if they say or admit to there being a defect, a recall has to be put out there. Now, a recall costs a ton of money, and they don't want to do it unless they are forced to do it. And the only way these manufacturers are forced to do a formal, quote unquote, formal recall is that a lot of people just take up, the torches, let's say, and storm towards the building and say, listen, we want this fixed. And that's what this lawsuit, I hope, does, even though it is so just crap, just horribly cobbled together. Hopefully it's enough for people like myself to put out the PSA, the public service announcement, and say, look, something to be aware of, go check it out. And if enough of these people that have that camera do, they might be more, let's say, inclined to put out a formal recall. Or even if they don't, and they end up just squashing this lawsuit, but still saying, yes, we're going to go ahead and fix it because we know that there's a problem. And then when you go and say, yeah, I have an A7 III and it's sounding kind of weird, they say, oh, no problem, send it in, we'll take care of it for you. That's good enough for me. I mean, you don't have to just take Sony and just drag them through the mud and beat them senseless. It's not necessary as long as they, AJ said, they just step up and do it.
It doesn't matter what company it is. At some point, you're going to have defects at something. Either it's a manufacturing defect or something, yeah? And it's not about something breaking. It's all about how you deal with it.
Right.
And that's the issue. If you go put hands up and go, hey, we've messed up here. Tell you what, let me have that back. We'll fix it for you free of charge. That customer's going to stay with that company because they know they're going to get looked after.
Absolutely.
It's when certain companies turn around and give you the finger and go, you know what, screw you. We've got your money already. No,
absolutely. That's one of the things why I've been saying for probably about 2-3 years now that I really like Fujifilm, even though I'm not a Fujifilm shooter, because I speak to, obviously, in doing what I do, a lot of people and a lot of colleagues of mine that shoot Fuji, especially now the GFX line and whatnot. They are on it. When it comes to customer service or support or whatever, they're on it immediately. Also, when there's new bug fixes that come out, they don't just give a bug fix, but they also add addition to the camera. And like I always say, I always make reference to one of their cameras that came out with 1080p, and then later on they gave everyone 4K recording literally within 3 months of it coming out for free. Unlike Panasonic that wants you to pay to use like log and stuff like that. Well,
yeah,
I
sure.
guess that,
I'll pay for an upgrade. I'll pay for software upgrade on the camera I already own.
And that's what we see with Panasonic. And a lot of people brought up a good point, though, I have to say, that Panasonic has to pay or lease or whatever it is, this L-Log, whatever they're using, that they're giving people. So since they have to pay for it, rent it, or whatever you want to call it, they have to let that money go, let's say, transfer to the person that's going to be using it. I think that's all great, all well and good. But the question to me is, why are they renting or leasing this? And if they, can they make their own log, number one? Number two, is Canon and Sony and Nikon, are they all renting and leasing their log, or is it their log? And if it's not Panasonic's log, why is it not? So it's like, I don't know enough about it, where it stands. But in my personal opinion, if it's not theirs, build your own. And, and if it isn't yours, then pay for it, one-time cost or whatever, and then give it away as a loss leader to bring people into your system. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't understand that mental of making people pay for an upgrade, like a firmware update or whatnot. I think it's ridiculous.
Well, didn't Canon do that with the 5D Mark IV?
I believe they did. They tried. It worked, I guess, but they never. I don't think that you don't see it anymore. Okay, so and that goes to the next topic. So I did a piece, like I think it was right around the 31st, right, a day after, about the Sony, and I was talking about it. I think I named it something like Canon hires Fujifilm brand loyalty team, right? Well, obviously, it was sarcasm. I'm kidding, but what happened was Canon released a new firmware update for their EOS R5, their EOS R6, as well as their DSLR flagship, which is the 1DX Mark III. So they released the 1.3.0, and they also released a 1.4.0 for the DSLR. Well, the 1.3.0 had in it, baked in, which was amazing, log 3. Well, C-Log 3 is normally only seen in cinema line cameras. So that's the C100, 200, 300, 500, and 700. By putting it into the R5, I thought was fascinating because now obviously they're giving it away for free, number one. Number two, it gives a path from an R5, shooting an R5 into one of the lower end models of their cinema, like let's say a C100 Mark II that only costs like $2,600. So it is a definite path, number one. But number two, that I think is fascinating also is that now you can use footage out of that R5 with footage from any of the C line and use C-Log on both and be able to color grade identically. I mean, that is unbelievable. A lot of people don't understand how big that is, but that is really massive. So that it's almost like a bridge. I mean, it's like a bridge camera, right?
A lot of people won't understand unless they use multi-cameras. But when you use multi-cameras and that color is slightly off, that's a hell of a lot of time you're having to spend in post just to get it to match. You know what I mean? Absolutely. You don't want to go from shot A to shot B and have the color change because it just looks awful and it's unprofessional as well. But yeah, the C-Log 3 thing, that's a big issue, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
It's tailoring for people like me who I really like my video side of stuff, but I don't have any type of cinema camera simply because I'm a lone shooter and I'm very limited on space that I can get into my bag. Yeah? Right. Although I'd love to sit there and have this nice big cinema camera that does X, Y, Z and all that stuff, I wouldn't be able to take it out with me because I just don't have the space, So I'm looking at something like the size of the R5 to do video, and then they go stick log 3 on the R5, and I'm happy. I'm sitting there with a big smile on my face, thinking, "Hey."
Absolutely. So they released that 1.3.0 at the same time with a bunch of other things in it, not just log. But
half the other stuff should have been in the camera at launch anyway.
No, it's true. It's true, and that's you get into the bug fixes.
At least they get in there. They get there. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, one thing that they didn't do was give log 3 to the EOS R6. So that shows you where they feel.
Do you want me to tell you why they didn't do that?
Go ahead. Do it.
People like me would buy the R6, not the R5. That's
exactly.
why. Exactly. So for me,
no, it's 100%.
Yeah, for me, I want a good quality video, and when I say that, I'm not on about resolution. I'm on about bit rate. Okay.
Right.
Good quality video. See log 3. I have to have the R5. If I can get the same thing from the R6, I'm not buying the R5. I'm buying the R6 because it's like it's was it $1,000 cheaper or something, or was it $1,500 cheaper, something like that?
No, it's true.
You know what I mean?
No, it's true. Absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, I am literally just doing video for YouTube. So. Although I do like my high quality video, because I like to play with it, I like to do a story, I like my B-roll. If I can get the same quality from a cheaper camera, I'm going for it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So LK writes in the chat, he said, it used to be that there was quality in cameras, but it seems that they're now basically hurrying them out the door. And that is absolutely the case. And absolutely the case. And it also... It also stems true. It's also true when it comes to these firmware updates, because Canon, even though that 1.3.0 came out like a couple of days ago, literally the next day, Canon shut that down because they were having issues with it causing problems with the EOS R6. Whereas the R5 version was fine, the R6 had some serious bug problems in it that was, affecting high-speed video and whatnot. So, here's something that but they fixed it literally the next day. They didn't throw it out there and literally wait like 2 weeks, to fix it and say, yes, we know there's a problem, but we're getting around to it. Literally like the next day, 24 hours, let's say 36 hours later, boom, they recalled it. It disappeared from Canon's website. And now you have the EOS R6, but firmware version 1.3.1. Okay, that fast. So it's good. In my personal opinion, that is good because we need to see more of that today, where these camera manufacturers are on it and they're on it quick. And we don't see a lot of that. We do not see a lot of that. They're just lethargic. It takes forever, especially when there's problems. So, we'll see what ends up happening with that. I'm happy that they're at least on it. I'm very happy that they're putting out their C-Log 3. I'm understanding also that Canon will be coming out with the EOS R5C. So the EOS R5C would be a cinema version.
Can I just hold you there?
What's that?
Can you just drop a link into your Discord server? Because you haven't put a link in yet.
Oh. Let me say link to the
Some people coming in there going, "How come there's no link in there?" While you do that, I just want to go to Carl Constantine, okay? Because he said to go to 8K. I disagree. I want 8K. I want 8K on my camera, right? Because I got the lower 2x lens. On a full frame camera, I can go to 2x magnification.
Right.
Okay. If I film in 8K for outputting to 4K, I can go to 4x magnification without changing the lens because of that crop.
Exactly.
With the 8K, yeah.
Exactly.
If I was to output to, if my maths are, obviously someone will correct me if my maths are wrong. I'm not good at maths, but if I was to film in 8K and then output to 1080, that'd be like 8x magnification.
Yeah.
But the important factor is, and this is the important, and this is a great one when it comes to macro and doing video, because you're in 8K and you got that extra crop that you can do because of such a high resolution. I can actually step back, film, knowing I'm going to output to 4K, but then I would have a greater depth of field because I'm stepping back away from the subject, and that will go on to one of the other discussions we're going to have today about the aperture. But because it's on 8K and I am cropping, I can step back and get a higher depth of field. So I want 8K on my camera, but I only need 8K on my stills camera. I don't need it on my video camera. Yeah, because the B-roll of bugs is going to be done with the camera that's in my hand, not the one that's on the tripod filming me. So
right.
It's a weird combination, but it's like
and then
8K for things like that. It really is good. I've played with the 8K from the R5. It's fantastic footage. It really is. Eats your memory card and it kills your computer. But
exactly, and that's it. And then a lot of people, like you're saying, they don't understand what the value is. And then on the video side of it, obviously, we're talking about how things stand when you're doing a lot of macro work. And getting that 8 times. But when you're doing video work, to have the ability to be able to crop into a video 2-3 times without any degradation in the video at all, right? That is really powerful, because that gives you the ability to shoot something extremely wide, bring it all the way in tight, and then move the frame around however you want it based on what's going on. That is really, really powerful in post-production. And unless you're doing video, you don't think about that. So like I was going to do this channel all 4K, and I tried it. And like you said, it just eats away the computer resources, the amount of time it takes to export, the amount of time it takes to import, the amount of time, plus the amount of data space, the amount of hard drive space to keep this stuff. And the time that you're done with it, it's taking more than double the amount of time for me to put a video out. So my question to myself was, and to others, when I talked about it, would you rather have double the amount of videos, or would you rather see me in 4K? I don't think you need to see my face in 4K. I'm a talking head. We're talking all day. You don't need to see this guy in 4K. It's not necessary. So I went back down to 1080. It just made sense to me. So is there a reason for it? Yes. But for me, there's no reason right now. Now, of course, I do production, so I do TV work, and everything that we're shooting in TV is always 4K, no 8K. Everything is 4K, and we go live sometimes with 4K, but most of the time, even in TV, we're going live 1080p. So it's really interesting. It's really interesting. A lot of it, has to do with post-production and not actual release, let's say. Because most people, and I'm sure if you take a look at your channel, Stewart, you're going to find that the majority of the people are watching you on your channel with a mobile phone or an iPad or something like that, sitting at 360p or 480p or maybe 720 the most, but even rarely 1080. Which is odd, if you think about it. But it kind of is what it is. Let's get into this whole Canon thing, because this is kind of an issue. So I'm gonna let you take the floor, because I know you had some issues, and kind of tell us about it, and then we'll kind of get into it. Before we do that, let me just say that if you're just coming on board fresh, new, and you didn't see the beginning of this live broadcast, I want to say that we do this sometimes weekly by a Friday, and we'll do like a weekend review and talk about it. And sometimes we'll have Stewart on, and we can have this back and forth chat. What I want you to do is just tell everybody who you are, so they know who you are and what you do. And do me a favor, plug your YouTube channel, because you've been doing this forever, and we have just about the same number of subscribers. So go for it.
You make me sound like I'm old doing it forever.
You are. You're ancient.
So my name is Stewart Wood. I am a macro photographer and YouTube content creator from the UK. And you can find me on any social media by typing in @StewartWoodArt, and you'll see my ugly mug turn up. So you know you got the right place when you find it. Can I just answer some questions here? Because I've got a lot of people going about 8K editing.
Yeah,
8K editing is actually quite easy. Same with 4K. The actual editing part of it, the hardest part is storage, because you've got 2 types of editor. Now, I don't know which one Joe is, and we'll find out in a minute. You've got 2 types of editor, okay? You've got the slap it on the timeline, edit it in real time. So that means you're playing it back and you're editing it. Or you slap it on the timeline and you pre-render it before you edit it. And that's what I have to do, because my spud is so slow. I have to pre-render the footage for me to actually play it. But
right,
my potato, it handled the 8K quite well, actually, to be fair.
I mean, for me,
to be fair, the R5 overheated before my computer broke anyway, so it's perfectly okay.
It wasn't, this whole R5, it really wasn't, I look at it as it wasn't a problem with an R5. It was a problem with their marketing team just being stupid and just putting it out there as being like this, 8K beast instead of, calling it what it is. So, I mean, they did the same thing. What
you should have called it is a high resolution stills camera. Oh, by the way, it can also do 8K for 5 minutes.
But
even if they said 2 minutes, everyone would go, 8K? Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Not like indefinite recording of 8K. If you don't have some type of inlet and exhaust to be able to cool the internals of the camera, the thing's in a nuke. It's gonna melt. You can't do it.
I'm wondering, because obviously there's a lot of controversy about the marketing over the R5, and I'm wondering now, leading on to the next thing we're going to talk about, is whether the marketing team got degraded and got sent over to the after-sales support team. Because that's what I'm thinking. I think that's where they ended up. When I first started photography, you saw the whole Canon ambassadorship thing, and Canon calls it Explorer of Light. And I always sat there and I was always, I'd be wicked to get invited onto being an Explorer of Light. After the last few weeks of me bitching, I don't think they're going to invite me to do jack shit, to be honest with you.
Yeah. No.
Because the next thing I want to talk about the Canon support, because, and this comes from a viewer. Okay, now I'm not going to mention his name, obviously, but basically, he bought himself a Laowa 100mm lens, which is this one. But he bought the R mount lens for his R6. Okay. Now, when he attached it, and we'll get on to how you fix this in a minute, because some people know, some people don't know. But when he attached it to his R6, it refused to fire. Okay, it pops up with an aperture f/00. Won't let him do anything and all that. And he was contacting me, asking me about it. And I did think to myself, what are you contacting me for?
Right.
But then he quickly actually answered that is because he's already contacted Canon support. And Canon support turned around, and I quote, they told him that non-Canon lenses are not supported. Okay, now I don't know Joe. I don't know if Joe speaks Canon language, because Canon have their own language. So I'm going to translate that into English for you, for anyone who doesn't understand what that means. That basically means you didn't buy the lens from us, so fuck off.
Yeah.
That's basically translated, right? And the issue here is when the camera can't sense a lens, because obviously it's a full manual lens, so there's no contact between the lens and the camera. When that happens, the camera won't let you fire. Now, this isn't a problem with the third-party lens. This is a problem with the camera setting. There's one single camera setting, and I'm going to bring it up here, okay? And then I'll have my rant, okay?
Yes.
Okay, it's in the menu. It's called Release Shutter Without Lens. You have to turn that on. It's off by standard out the box. So if you're going to put a manual lens, any type of lens, can be portrait, macro, anything, onto your R body camera, you have to turn that option on. And my rant is, why the hell couldn't Canon support just turn around and tell him that instead of telling him to F off?
No, absolutely.
It's beyond reason. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like it depends on who you catch at a certain time of the day. Have they had the coffee yet? Have they had the breakfast yet? No, well, piss off then. I'm not interested in your support.
A lot of these companies, they outsource, all right? I'm going to be diplomatic here. They outsource.
You be diplomatic.
Yes, they outsource their customer service to other countries, where when you call them, they're trained to answer all questions based on a book that's about this thin. Okay, so when they get a call about a manual lens, right, and being attached to their camera, they go to the page that says manual. Hold on, Stewart. Wait, I got to say it. They look at it. They're on page 27, and they say manual lens. It says ask person on phone if it's a Canon lens. So they say, oh. Yes, Stewart, is that a Canon lens or a third party? And then you say it's third party. They go down to where it says 30, and there it is. It says F off. That's it. That's how it works. They don't, there's no other. Now, wait a second. If you would say, yes, that is a Canon lens, it says flip to page 29. They do this. And they flip to 20, and then they got a whole bunch of shit to give you on page 29. So this is basically how it is. And there's no thought process in it, because how easy was it for you to figure that out? This is not rocket science. You just look on the bag, you're like, oh, here it is. flip this and you're done. But
Yeah.
this is the kind of stuff that they do because of
That
how they
leads me
have
on
it set
to,
up.
That leads me on to the EOS R. Okay, now this pre-pandemic, obviously, we used to have a photography show every single year in the UK, and that would be where I'd go there, have a play with stuff, and write down onto my shopping list the stuff I want to buy in the next year or so. And this was just as the EOS R was released. Okay, so they had the EOS R, and I was like, "Oh, it's mirrorless. Never used mirrorless before. Is it any good for macro?" So I'm at the Canon stand, and you got all these representatives. They've got their little Canon shirts on, so they must know what they're on about. You know what I mean?
Right.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah.
So basically, I say to him, "Oh, yeah," I said, "I'm a macro photographer. I want to have a little play with the EOS R." And he's like, "Yeah, sure. What lens do you want to stick on it?" "Well, you're going to stick the MPE 65mm on it, ain't you? The god of all macro lenses. Stick that thing on there, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, this looks good." He goes, "Can I assign a button to depth of field preview?" I don't know. And I'm like, so you're here representing Canon, trying to sell their latest camera, and you don't know if you can do this? I'm like,
No.
Okay, well, I won't be buying it today then, will I?
Yeah.
You know
No.
what I mean? And it's just amazing that it's just like they hire these people that don't actually know the camera system. All they're there to do is pass you the camera and a combination for you to play with. And
so
like, you ask questions.
All right. So when I was doing Digital Photography Cafe, I was the co-host of Digital Photography Cafe. We would travel the country. We would do these shows. Okay. We would get a booth at, let's say, WPPI, at Photo Plus Expo in Manhattan, in New York City, or whatever. We would go and we would interview all of the movers and shakers, the CEOs, the CFOs, all these people, right? Well, what I found was when you go to the shows, the people that work the booths are always the hottest chicks that the company has, and their purpose is not to show the gear off as much as it is to get your contact information to put you onto a mailing list. Okay, that is what the shows are all about. The ROI, the return on investment at these shows, is just complete crap. They don't make any money, and the only thing that they can do is hope that they can sell you something after the fact through email, through other marketing means. So once again, it's not necessarily the people that are the smartest there. It's the people that look the best, girls, guys, whatever. Usually it's like the hot chick that has the iPad and says, "Hey, let me scan your badge." That kind of thing. And that's all that you get. And this has happened.
I went to a photography show, right? And it's got a Hasselblad stand.
Right.
And my mate's like, "Oh, let's go and have a look at the Hasselblad stand." I'm like, "I'm not interested in Hasselblad. I can't afford a Hasselblad." He's like, "No, but they got fit models, so we're going over there."
Yeah.
They got my contact information because
they
of that
got
exact
it, right?
same trick that you were just on about, yeah.
That's how it works. Yeah. Enter this, giveaway.
Paul says.
Let's look at some of these. Questions. You, if you see one that you want to highlight, let me know, and then I'll stick it in here. Let's see. Let's see. While we're looking through there.
Set my potato at the moment.
Yeah. Carl says he still wants.
When I get the new one, will they?
No. Carl says he still wants to see a R5S. That would be kind of sweet. That would be that 80 to 100 megapixel beast that I was talking about. The same thing as like equivalent to a 5D S or a 5D SR or whatever they called it without the.
I'm hoping they go the route with the SR and remove that filter.
Take out the
macro.
No, absolutely. Take it because you don't really need it.
Awesome.
You don't. Yeah, you don't need the filter in there. So they could do that. I don't think that what would be better is to allow you to turn that filter on and off so that, let's say they did create an EOS R5S, and instead of having an S and an SR, they just have an S and then have a means to turn that filter on and off. So you end up being able to have that or if not. So that would probably be a good way to do it. And they have the technology today. It's not like back in, 2008 or whatever it was, when that originally came out. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. I think that they will come out with a EOS R5 whatever S, like, I called it, where you have something that's extremely high megapixels so that they can compete with the Sony, the A7R4 or whatnot, something over 80 megapixels, maybe even 100 megapixels. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But that would be massive. That would be really big. I would like to see also a true monochrome sensor out of one of these companies that are high megapixels. That would be awesome, in my personal opinion, because I shoot black and white for my fine art. And to shoot, let's say, 100 megapixel monochrome digital sensor would be pretty damn close to shooting definitely a 35 millimeter, like something like this, like one of these, like a Minolta. This is an SRT 102. This is I love this camera. I shoot a lot of my fine art stuff with this thing. So, I would like to see that, a true monochrome. And if people don't know what that does, is basically you're not converting the color into black and white after the fact by getting a sensor that's only pulling in monochrome. You end up with a lot more dynamic range, a ton more dynamic range. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. That would be really cool.
Would it increase the dynamic range?
Yes, it definitely does. Definitely. And I would like to see Fujifilm do the exact same thing with a GFX. Do like a GFX 100M or something, monochrome or whatever. That would be really something amazing, and have like 100 megapixel medium format, which would be even better than full frame, obviously, just for the amount of data that you end up with. So that's just my little rant. We'll see what ends up happening with that. We'll see. Let's see what other questions. You see some others that pop up here. Let's see here. CC Photography says the same with Sony. I had to change the settings to use a 25 millimeter ultra macro. Yeah, so this is obviously, I'm going to put that into the highlights. So that is something I think that a lot of the cameras do, that you need to put that setting in there. But when you call, the whole point, I guess, of the rant a little bit was about if you go and call their customer service line, they should just be able to answer you without, giving you the runaround and telling you to go F off because you didn't buy.
Messed up. When you go, just tell the guy what settings, because technically it's not the lens, it was actually the camera. So although they're going to go, we don't support third-party lenses, screw that. Help your customer out, because you help your customer out, he's going to come back to buy a new camera.
Exactly. I mean, even if they want to be a prick about it, they can say, yes, the camera does it. Go read your manual. It would be there. But
I'm going to be fair to Canon, actually, because I know I rant about them, right? But when I first got my EOS R, my flash wasn't compatible with it. The ETTL wouldn't work on it at all. I contacted support on their Twitter. Now, I don't know if that's a different branch to what this guy has contacted, right? But they were actually very nice with me. They said they don't mess off Sky News. Mm-hmm. They don't support third-party flashes, but they did go on and test everything out for me. They tested it with their flashes, they tested it all out, and they just said that it's definitely an incompatibility with that particular flash, So
right.
Although on one hand I'm moaning and bitching that they support shit, on the other hand I have actually had good experiences with their support team.
Yeah,
but the answer you get most of the time, of the time, their cut and paste answer is, "I'll pass your information to the technical department."
Yeah,
that's the one I get mostly. I keep doing tweets about their new macro lens for the R system. Like, when's it coming out? Do you want me to help test it? Do you want me to have a look at it? I'll give you my thoughts.
Hopefully they do. Because. You know what? Talking about lenses, let me pull something up here, and you can let me go and bring this up real quick. So this right here, let me make you small, maybe at the bottom. There we go. That's perfect. So this is coming up. This is I guess it will be like a seminar, or you're going to be featured by Loya for their I guess you'd be talking about their lenses and whatnot. So it'll be like a meeting the masters type of session. So
what it is they started this last year when lockdown started, just to get people on to talk about certain aspects, and they've invited me back this year to do another one. I'm talking about 5 macro subjects to photograph at home,
right?
That I haven't done before. And that's the key thing. So it's not going to be water drops or dandelions or jumping spiders, okay?
Yeah, or spiders.
yeah, this is going to be on next Friday on the Laura Facebook page, or you can watch it on their YouTube channel. And I think it's going to be a fun little show. Hopefully, I can make it entertaining.
Yeah, no,
they got different people on throughout April doing.
So let's see.
If you like your macro, definitely check that out.
Yeah, that's cool. So it's the 9th of April,
yes.
And it's 7 p.m. GMT, or PDT would be 12 noon. So you have, let's see, what do we have here? You have feathers, paper, fruit, kitchen cutlery, as well as sparkling water. I love that. So it's just basically stuff that you can do.
I got 4 bottles of this stuff ready to go, you know?
It's awesome.
I'm trying something new for this one. I'm trying something new for this live stream.
I just like that, that you were selected to do it, because obviously they like what you do when it comes to using their lenses for doing macro work. If you haven't watched... I've said it
before. I mean, I don't know if people believe it or not, but literally I use the best equipment for the job. So I'm not an ambassador for Laura. I actually bought my own lens. Mm-hmm. And, I keep getting asked by other companies to do live streams, and I keep saying no because I don't own your lens. I'm not going to do a live stream for a lens I don't own. It's not something... It's not a route I want to go down to. Are you going to pay me to do this and say this about your lens when, in fact, it's not true? In my eyes, it's not true.
Yeah,
it's a dodgy area. I should stop talking about it, otherwise I'll start ranting again.
No, it's true. There's a lot.
I do like their lenses,
and I get that a lot from the viewers from this channel. They'll say, I watch you because I know whatever you say is kind of like it is what it is. Without like a horse in the race. And I think that's very important, even if you take on sponsors. And I have no objection to taking on sponsors. Right now, the only thing that I sell is my own products. JCristina Photography Tools products. Yeah. That's it. You can find them over on Amazon. You can find them on B&H Photo and Video. You can find them in mom and pops all over the world. You can find them on my website, JCristina.com, whatever. All those products that I've invented over the last decade are there. I don't have other people that I say go buy their stuff. Now, like I said, I don't have an adversity to it. I will do it. If it's something that I really like and they want to pay, let's say, a good amount, let's say the ROI, the return on investment for me to do the work is acceptable, then I will do it. Absolutely. But it has to be something that I truly like. A problem with a lot of these channels today are they come out there and they tell you, that this is the best lens and here's an affiliate link that you can use to go get it. Next week, they're saying, no, this is the best lens. Here's an affiliate link to go and buy that one. Or this is the best camera. And it's this so on and so forth type of thing where it's just clicking on affiliate links. I just don't like that because you don't know what's real and what is not. You don't know what is really authentic and what is not. And as soon as you let's say, quote unquote, screw someone once, they're not going to trust you anymore. And that's what this is all about. People come and watch your channel and they watch my channel based on trust. And if they like you as a person, they like what you're saying, and they trust what you're saying is authentic, or at least authentic to you. You're not making up stories just to sell something or to make a buck. They'll keep coming back. So, I wish that we had both 100,000 people.
You've only got to go down that route once and you lose the credibility, and that's it. Yeah. You're not getting that back. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So when I say something's good, lower lens, but EF version, don't go for the R version, okay?
Right.
Go for the EF version and convert it because you got the aperture control, yeah? When I say it's good, it's good. But on the other end of the scale, when I say something's crap, it's crap, okay?
Yeah, because
and I've had it a few times on my channel. I've done a few reviews for certain stuff where I've literally come out and said, this is just crap. Just don't even bother. You just
No, absolutely. And you know what CC Photography says, and the question is, do you believe that Canon could take a page out of Sony's playbook, basically, and encourage third-party lens manufacturers? Basically, they really need to. They need the same thing with Nikon, though. Same thing with Nikon. Now, you can get some third parties for Canon on the R line, but they're always like these obscure third parties, and there's only like one lens, and it's usually manual. That doesn't have AF. There's no autofocus.
It's the problem at the moment, and I'm not going to cite my source because I might get in trouble. Okay, the problem at the moment is reverse engineering the software for the lens for the R mount, which is why most companies when they let me just get this thing off here. Okay, when they do. Yeah, multitasking. When they do a lens, okay, and I'm going to focus this now in front of me so you can see. So that's the EF version of the lower lens, okay?
Right.
When they create an RF lens, all they do is literally stick on an extra little segment there. There's no extra glass or anything in it because they simply haven't got the engineering to support creating a proper lens. Right. And that's because Canon haven't opened up their system for third-party people to do it. All they can do is copy the mount with no electronic coupling, just literally so the lens will fit onto the mount. And that's all they can get so far.
They have to.
So yeah, I agree. I agree with CC. They need to just go right. This is our mount. Send it off to Sigma.
Right, Tamron. Whoever. I know you don't like Tamron, but. Let's not get into the Tamron debate.
But again, saying that, I wouldn't mind a Tamron R mount lens for my plants.
Yeah,
quite nice actually. But anyway, but you got to send it. Literally, get the specs for the mount, the specs for the software, and how it works. Send it off to Sigma, Tamron. And all them places. And let them do it.
It's a licensing deal. That's basically what it is. It's a licensing deal. And until Canon, Nikon, whoever wants to license this out to Tamron, to Sigma, to all the rest of them, it just won't happen, obviously. They're not going to reverse engineer, put something out and get sued. They have to license it, okay, period. They have to pay Canon a little bit, a stipend, basically, to use that license to decode what's going on for AF, for all the rest of the stuff that's going on in those lenses. So, but they need to do it. Okay, the reason why they don't do it, because they're making just an ass load of money right now on RF mount lenses. They're they're very expensive. And this is where they're going to make as much money as possible. And once they've made the lion's share, then they will release it and put it out there and say, okay, here you go. You can, you can do it. The third parties can pick it up. Just like Sony. I mean, you can get just about any third party Sony glass, for Sony, and it's not a problem. But remember, when Sony first came out, I was there when the A7 was released. I was in Manhattan. I remember the guy handing it over to me saying, give this a shot. And I'm like, where is your lens? We don't have one. Use yours. What do you want me to use? An EF lens. Okay, here's the EF mount. Okay. And it was such shit. I mean, I don't even know. It was the worst freaking camera. It was horrid. Okay, the EF mount lens that we put on there was L glass. I think it was a 24-70. It was slow as it was brutal. It was brutally slow. Okay, and it just didn't work. It didn't want to hold focus. It was horrible. But look where they have come. So they've come literally from starting out saying we don't have any lenses at all, to now having a ton of really good G Master lenses, right? That are professional grade, as good as Nikkor, as good as L glass from Canon, in my personal opinion, really good lenses. So they opened it up and said, here you go. Everyone could now, jump on the bandwagon and start making our glass and throw it on the camera and it'll work perfectly fine. So I think that if we give them time, Canon, Nikon, all the rest will do the same, but I think it's just going to take some time because they want to make, once again, like I said, the lion's share of the money before they open it up, So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but it's definitely something that a lot of us are looking for that are shooting, an R series camera. I mean, especially you. I mean, I'm sure. Now you were saying something that was very interesting, and I don't know if people got it or not. You really like using your converter right? Your RF to EF converter, because there's things that you can do. One thing that you didn't talk about that is really important is some people that shoot outdoors a lot, they want to use like ND filters. And instead of using an ND filter that you strap onto the front of the lens, where you have to have like a 52 millimeter or 60 millimeter, 70 millimeter, 77 millimeter, all these different ND filters, and for all the different, and it's expensive. With that adapter, if you pay for the more expensive Canon adapter, that's that RF to EF adapter, you can just slide in an ND filter and use any glass on it. That is a major, that's big. That is really, really big. And once again, those adapters are so good now. We talked about this in the video that we talked the last time. That adapter is so good, you do not lose any light. There's no reduction in speed when it comes to AF performance, autofocus. There's no reduction when it comes also to stabilization. So why not use it besides just gaining like an extra, let's say, 1/4 of an inch or 3/8 of an inch of size, let's say length. That's about it.
Yeah. I mean, typical use case of mine. Myself not interested. A typical typical use case of mine. Okay, I'll see if I can get this chat window out the way so I can focus this thing here. So, yeah, there's the adapter. So I got mine set to the aperture. So when I'm photographing bugs, I can press one of the buttons in the back of the camera, the depth of field preview, and then I can just twist this to increase the depth of field until it covers the whole head that I want. Right. And then just take the shot. And I think it's an absolutely fantastic little control ring adapter. I love the thing, I do. In fact, I was trying to buy a second one from my other EOS R, and they was all out of stock at the time. Couldn't get one. But yeah, I think they're fantastic. I mean, they kind of shot themselves in the foot, really, because I don't know what the price is going to be on their Canon R macro lens, their big-ass macro lens. I don't think it's going to beat the lower. I'll be honest with you. I don't think it's going to beat it. I mean, oh man, they'd have to put something so fantastic out the gate to beat the lower. You'd have to have something unique, like 3 times macro, maybe. Obviously the Canon build quality is better than lower. They've got the reverse sealing going for them. So if you're worried about getting it wet, then obviously you go with that. But when it comes to image quality, they've got a big boy to beat. Yeah,
and there's lenses out there that are amazing that are not necessarily manufacturer. There's some Zeiss glass out there that we use for doing some real estate work that is just they're just amazing. Some tilt shift lenses out there that are just second to none. There's a lot of things that it goes back to adapting. I really do think that adapting onto that R is just, it's almost like a no-brainer. So yes, you want to get as much of, let's say, native glass as possible. And I am like that too. But with that system, you don't have to worry about it as much as you do with some systems where the adapters are not as good. So yeah, it's almost like Canon might have shot themselves in the foot a little bit with that adapter, because people, they will just say, you know what, I have all of this EF glass. Just here in the studio, we probably have $30,000 or more of EF glass, L glass, that we've bought over the decades. So there's a lot of glass here. So even when we do go mirrorless with an R, I don't know how much of actual RF mount lenses I would buy, because I have so much already.
I've just got to do a rant. Hold on a minute. Carl, the 85mm macro is not a macro lens. Okay, don't get fooled by marketing. That's only half life size. Okay, so that's a close-up filter. There is no true macro lens for the RF system. Okay, and oh man, I hate it when these camera. I've got half a dozen lenses on there. They've got macro written on them, and they're not macro lenses. They're just close-up lenses. Yeah,
right.
So don't get fooled into the whole. Just because it says macro on the side of the lens, thinking it's a macro lens, it is not a macro lens. So
explain to them exactly what they want to read on the side of a lens. I think that's very important.
If you're looking for a macro lens, we're talking true macro lens, okay? you're looking for a reproduction ratio of life size or 1:1.
1:1, right?
That's where macro starts. Okay, anything above that, so half life size, which is 0.5, it's only close up. Okay, a lot of these companies just slap on macro on the lens just to have it there. And the 85, and I'm literally reading this from the Canon website right now, is at 0.5 times macro, which is half life size. Now, don't get me wrong, it'd be a great lens. You'll get close up, but you're not. Let's say if you go down the route of being a macro photographer, you're not keeping that lens for very long.
So that Loya,
for the price, I mean, in this country, sorry to interrupt you, in this country, it's £670. You can get the Laowa for 450. Okay.
So what? Right. So what is that? What is the Laowa at? 1 point. What is
2 times?
So it's 2 times. So you're looking at 4 times the amount, basically the.
Yeah. And it's not just the magnification from the Laowa lens. I'm going to sound like a Laowa ambassador. But basically, it's got it's practically zero distortion, and it's got no chromatic aberration as well. And if I did, I'm going to do this on the channel. I'm going to put the Laowa against my Canon lens, yeah. Particularly with the black and white jumping spider. So you've got high contrast situation of white and black next to each other.
Right.
And you can see the chromatic aberrations on there, you know, it's like the fringing. You've probably all seen it when you've done photos.
Yeah, you get that purple and purple and
none of it with the Laowa at all.
Kind of like behind
me. Yeah, basically it's like that, yeah. So literally when you're coming from a workflow type of position, you're not having to clean that up with the Laowa lens. And again, it's a lot cheaper.
Yeah, no, I know. So one of the lenses that obviously you turned into a potted plant was a tamarind over there. But you know what? While I'm talking, go grab your potted plant because you got to show people your potted plant. It's funny as shit. Yeah. So one of my favorite lenses that I use is a Tamarind 90. I don't have it with me. I would show it to you. And it is definitely by far. Oh, wait a second. Hold on. I got to make you full screen. There you go.
It says macro. It says macro. It's not a macro
there you go.
lens. The goddamn zoom lens. I'm sorry, but it boils my piss when they do this. Why can't you rename that and just say close up?
Yeah, call it what it is.
Because it wouldn't sell as much. But yeah, that's my. This is my Tamarind 70 to 200 with my cactus inside it. Look.
Yeah, that's it. I like it. I like it. Yeah, so my 90.
Actually, if anyone's interested, I actually have a video of me actually turning this into a plant pot on my channel.
Unbelievable.
It didn't do very good. People didn't like it. But,
they didn't like it. Yeah, people will get pissed. I know. You know, one of the things that I find, you know, being in the photography world, and for me, I'm a DP, so I'm a director of photography. I do a lot of video. Yeah. So when I'm not doing this, I'm on set doing shows. I can't talk about them. Everything's NDA'd. It's always like anyways, I wish I could. But so I do shows and whatnot. And the thing that I find is everyone that's in the industry, it doesn't matter if you're in the video side of things, you know, and you have ARIs going or you have like whatever. What I find is that everyone always has to, I guess, make it a point to say how great their camera or lens or whatever it is to justify their purchase. And I've never been like that. It's just the weirdest thing to me. And that's where you get these fanboys and fangirls that they purchased. Let's say they purchased an EOS R. And they will go into how wonderful this thing is and how it's the best thing, you know, since sliced bread. It's because they paid the money to buy it, not because it really is. And I always hate that. A lot of the channels do that too, and they'll harp on. And then you'll get the other people on the other side that will just completely crap all over, like, for example, that camera, the R, because of its, you know, crop factor when you're doing 4K. So, you know, I find it always annoying, you know, where you get these people that I wish that people would just step back and say, you know what, I made a purchase, you know, I bought this because it works good for me. It might not be good for you. A perfect example is, so I shoot Canon, right? Everyone knows it, but I'm not a Canon fanboy and I'll crap all over them whenever they need to be crapped on. But right now I'm being shot with a Sony.
Would you class me as a fanboy?
Yeah, you're a fanboy. And you hate Tamarind, so I hate you. No, but so, so right now I'm shooting this video with a Sony ZV-1. Okay. So people are like, oh, you don't even have Sony. You're an idiot. You don't like Sony, whatever. I'm shooting this with a ZV-1. Why? Because it is the best camera for the job right now for what I need it to do. If I turn to the side, it focuses on this eye. If I turn a little bit the other way, it immediately jumps to this one. If I want to show you something, right? Let's say I want to show you this camera. I want to get in there nice and tight. It's immediately in there, right? Real quick. I dump it. It's right back to me, okay? It does such a good job. That's number one. Number two, it's the cost. I could have got another 80D because I have a secondary camera that's an 80D. I could have got a 90D. I could have shot with a 5D Mark IV. I could have shot with just about anything. It's not that we don't have the funds here, but this was so cheap for what it gives. It goes back to value. A lot of people today are looking for value. So like you were saying, you can get this Laowa lens for like 400 and some bucks instead of 600 and some bucks, and it does X, Y, and Z better. Once again, it goes to ROI and it goes to value. It is a better value, so it doesn't matter the price as such, but what are you getting for it? Price is important today, obviously, but what do you get for your money? So hopefully there's less, and I do find that there's a lot less trolls on this channel because I am not a fanboy, and I don't just, I don't appear to be, nor am I. So they know that I'm agnostic, and everything that I talk about, it doesn't really matter. I can flip one way or flip the other way. It depends on how the mood moves or how the wind blows or how these companies are working or what they're putting out. So, like I said, I'm a fan, obviously, of Canon products, but I also will tell you every time they take the Canon, sword and just slice the hell out of it and cripple it, I'll tell you every time they do it. And I hate it, but they do it all the time.
Their technical department's got several messages from me. And it's a simple question, and that is, why does my EVF turn off when I plug in a HDMI lead into the camera? And I'm talking from a teacher's point of view.
Right.
Okay? So, 99% of people, they ain't going to be bothered about it, right? But when you plug in a HDMI lead into the output here, your EVF turns off. And I want to plug it in because I want to record it. So whenever I'm teaching macro, I want the people to see what the camera is seeing. The only problem is I can't use the camera like that, right? Because that EVF turns off. I end up having to use it like Manny Ortiz does. I'm like this, and then
wow.
I can't look at that. This is another bit. I'll go into this in a minute, but I can't look at that screen sometimes because sometimes that screen doesn't turn on when it's plugged in. Sometimes it does. It's kind of like, are you going to work today or you're not going to work today?
Yeah. No.
And all I would like is to be able to have a camera that I can plug my HDMI lead into, record what the EVF sees, and look through the EVF at the same time. And I believe Sony's can do that, if I remember right. So I have been looking into Sony.
Right.
For the simple case of it makes teaching a lot easier because people can see what I am seeing, Well, I'll get the usual answer. We'll pass your question on to the technical department. I never get a straight answer from them.
And that's it. That's all you get.
It'd be nice to know if they said, it'd be nice to know if it's a software limitation or is it a hardware limitation? Is there a hardware switch that switches over when you plug it in, or is it just software based? If it's software based, they could fix it. Fix it. No,
they could fix it pretty easily, for sure.
Yeah.
Let me see here. We got a question from Mario. He said, "What about the Pentax K3?" I just brought this up here. I think DP Review was talking about it. Let me go and flip the screen over and put us in here somewhere. So let's see. So this is it. So this is the Pentax K3 Mark III, and they did like this initial review on it. And this was, I think, yesterday or day before. Once again, this is a standard DSLR. All right, it's an APS-C camera. So, is this something that I would be inclined to go and purchase? Probably not. But I do have to say that I do like. I always have liked the Pentax brand way back in the day. I mean, they do a lot of things right, but The problem with this is, I mean, if we look at the specs here, we have what, 25, let's call it 26 megapixels. It's a BSI backside illuminated sensor, your CMOS sensor. What is it, 101 points of AF. You have your 5-axis image stabilization, 5.5 EV, which is great for the stabilization, weather sealing, magnesium alloy, which we expect. You know, there's a lot going on here. We also have 4K capture at 30p, which is good. So, I mean, this is like a typical, you know, camera. This is like an update to like a 2005 version 2 camera. But the problem with it is it's, you know, it's not mirrorless. Now, for me, I don't care because I like DSLRs. I don't have a problem with DSLRs. I don't find that I absolutely have to go with a mirrorless camera as of this moment. There's nothing that it will give me that I don't already get with the cameras that I have. So that's why I haven't went down the line yet. I'm going to probably wait for them to kind of shake out some of the, you know, some of the crap mirrorless that are out there on the Canon side, that they're really starting to hone in and make some really good cameras. Like I think that the R5, the R6 are really good. I'd like to see maybe a version 2. I don't like to beta test for anybody unless they're paying me to do so. No. So I'd like to see version 2s of stuff. So any kind of problems have been kind of, you know, put through the wash. Rinse dry, rinse and repeat a few times, and then, you know. But with this, with the Pentax, the K3 Mark III, you know, it's not something that I'd be interested in because it's old engineering. You know, it's old school. It's not something that I would get into. Do I think it's a great camera? It sure does look like it on paper. I reviewed some of it the other day. I didn't do a video on it, but I think that, I mean, for what it is, it looks to be like a hell of a body, a really durable body. Matter of fact, in one of my videos, and I want to know your thoughts on it. On one of my videos, I said, you know, like a Sony a7 III, like I was talking about the lawsuit, they were saying how the Sony a7 III was just such a durable camera and even more durable than a DSLR. And that's why it's $2,000. And I said, you know, I mean, if I was going to war, I'd take this Pentax, you know, in the trenches, or I would take like a 1D X, you know, Mark III into the trenches before a Sony a7 III. And the person said, hey, you know, the mirrorless camera has less moving parts, so it's going to be stronger. Well, in my personal opinion, the DSLRs are still a hell of a lot more robust than the mirrorless cameras, in my opinion. Now, you have both sitting there. What do you think as far as the build qualities of the two?
Yeah.
I don't know if you have 1Ds there, you know, the more of the professional grade or whatnot, but what do you think?
I don't have 1Ds. I have the 80D.
Okay.
Well, I know for a fact I clean the A to D far less than I do the EOS R. That's for damn sure.
Right, yeah. Right.
It's hard to tell. I mean, it's at the end of the day, it comes down to what you're producing and how quickly and easily you can produce. And if you're in like the trenches, then you know you're going to get dirty. You know it's going to get bashed and smacked around.
Right.
And I do feel like the DSLR of the A to D could take a hell of a pounding compared to the EOS R. Although I have dropped the EOS R 3 times and it's still working. So.
Yeah, it's not bad. That's not bad.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's not bad.
So I
do suffer from dropsies. I'll tell you that.
You know, well, that's a problem. All right, that's a problem. You know, you know what? So when you send that thing to Canon, Canon's gonna be like, "Yeah, I watched this video with you, and you said that you kept dropping our shit all the time, and that's why it's broken." So that's it. No warranty, done.
No, good.
So just for a point of reference, I mean, I have like all the way back to the 1D Mark I's, you know, the original 1Ds that were like they weren't even CMOS sensor at the time. You know, they were CCD sensors, and it was like 4.3 megapixels, and it was such a beast that you could literally beat someone senseless with it. Okay, and then pick it up and take their picture, and then move on. That's how just heavy and robust that machine was.
I doubt it'll happen. Maybe we could tag Peter McKinnon.
There you go.
Tweet somewhere. Do you remember a few years ago when he froze his 1DX Mark II and it still worked? Let's get everyone to ping Peter McKinnon and say, do the same with the R5 and see what happens.
Oh my God! I just have a feeling that it just wouldn't fare as well. Okay, I have a feeling. I don't think it would fare as well. I really don't. I mean, you know, so, but we'll see. That would be a great test. And he would do it, probably be like, yeah, chuck it, see what happens.
Just do it.
That's all right. They'll send him another one for free anyways. It's a test. It's a test.
God, yeah.
Drop it from a 12-foot ladder and let's see what happens and see who lasts longer. So, but you know, it's something to think about. Once again, the camera that you purchase. I get a lot of people. They'll say, "What should I buy for this? What should I buy? You know, what is a good camera? What is good this?" And it's always about what you're doing, right? Which camera to purchase for what you're.
I always ask a question, and that is, what do you need your camera to do that your camera's not doing? You know,
exactly. And if the new camera does not do something that your old camera currently does, if it doesn't do something that will either make you money or make your life less miserable or speed up your workflow, don't buy it. There's no reason to upgrade just to upgrade.
To the reason why I have two EOS Rs, because originally
is you have money burning a hole in your pocket.
Yeah. Anyway, yes, that YouTube Millions, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The Canon money truck backs up every Friday and dumps their money. That's why I went.
That's right. And you're doing like this, right?
Well,
yeah.
Well, my friend who originally told me to start the channel, he bought me my first EOS R, and he said he wanted the video quality to come up, so I could do certain stuff, like I could go outside, I could start doing videos about video production as well.
Right.
So he bought me my first EOS R, and in all tensions, I was going to use it as a video camera, okay? But when I used it for macro and realised what the focus peaking on a mirrorless camera can do for macro photographers, I was like, damn. So I started using that as the actual stills camera and carried on using the 80D. And then one fateful week, I decided, let's swap it over. Let's use the R for video. And then when I looked at the quality of the video, even when your focus is hitting that bug's eye,
I mean,
bug's eye just turns red.
Absolutely.
Boom, I love it. And that's one reason why I upgraded to mirrorless, is because of focus peaking. No,
absolutely. So, I mean, for
resolution, I don't care.
For example, no, that's right. Right. We use on some of the sets. They are, instead of using red, some of the sets are still using Panasonic EVA 1s. Some of the work that I do as a DP. And those EVA 1s, even though you can use a Panasonic lens on it, Panasonic has such shit autofocus, right? Most of the time, we'll just throw on an EF mount and use Canon L glass instead. And then we're pulling focus. Okay, so pulling focus is always using focus peaking, and that's just it, period. So it's just like in the industry, you're always using focus peaking, most of the time anyways, because a lot of these cameras don't have the best, let's say, autofocus for the most part. And as of today, a lot of these in the industry, a lot of them aren't using the Canons, like a Canon 700 or a Canon, C500 or whatnot. They're still using older Panasonics, Aris, whatever, some Black Magics here and there, but there's a lot of them that you're having to pull focus anyways, manual. So focus peaking is definitely worth its weight in gold, especially when you're doing macro photography. Jeez, that's really, really important. Let me see. So I threw it out here. We're going to be closing down shop here very soon. I threw out there. Anyone that wants to ask some questions, throw them in there right now. Let me see what we got here. Andrew said, I saw a video somewhere, which 1D Mark III, used as a hammer. Yeah, you could probably, you know what, Andrew, you probably use the 1D as a hammer. It is the battery alone in that thing. I wish it's across the room, but the battery alone, when you release it,
go get it.
You want me to grab it?
Go and get it.
I'm gonna grab the old one so you can see it. Hold on just a second. Yeah. I'm gonna flip over so you're full. Here we go.
What am I gonna do? Just do a dance? Oh God. Right. So Carl was asking, saw a vid where someone did a mod. Yeah, that video, I know the one you're on about, where the guy modded the R5 and put liquid cooling onto the process and was able to run it in 8K for hours and hours and hours. It was an interesting mod, that was for sure.
All right, so this is the...
I can't remember who it was, though.
So this was the... I grabbed, instead of the new one, I grabbed the old 1D, just so you can see it. So you can see... There you go. Let me just pull that off. So this is... So just so you know, this is the original 1D. This is 4.2, 4.3 megapixels is what it gives you. It was just over $7,000. All right, just over $7,000. And it has a CCD in it. It is not a CMOS sensor. Look at that cracked back screen. You see that? There you go. You like that? This thing has probably close to 1 million shots on it. Maybe 800,000.
Still working?
It's still working. Yeah, it's still working. But let me show you. I mean, so this weighs, I mean, I got the scale over there. This, I don't even know. This is like 4 pounds. I mean, it feels like, I mean, it's definitely over a pound or two. It is a lot. But look at this just the battery alone is like a pound. Right? Massive. Look at this thing.
The size of that battery.
This is the battery, right?
Hold on. Let me get mine out. Yeah.
What, are we going to compare battery sizes? What is going on here? We've just
taken. You want to have a pissing contest?
Yeah, yes, we're taking the channel into, like, I don't know, into the hole. There we go. So look at that. Look at the size. This thing, just the size of this thing. I mean, it's so like I said, when I say that you can use this to beat someone over the head, literally beat someone over the head, and then pick it up and then take their photograph, I'm not even joking. This camera has gone through war. Not this specific one, but this camera war has been shot with this camera all day long, whereas I would not do it with a mirrorless camera. I mean, just like you said, how dirty your camera gets. You know, just let me, as a side note, say that the reason why, well, look at your, the reason why I created the whole Aurora Camera Care products, which is the sensor cleaning products, was because mirrorless came out and people were reaching out to me saying that, you know, we want to clean our mirrorless cameras because they're getting so much, you know, they're getting dirtier quicker than our DSLRs. They didn't know why. Well, they don't have anything blocking. So whenever you pull that off, instead of having a mirror like this does, you don't have that. They're blocking your sensor. So when you pull it off, that's all you see is the sensor, and then everything just sucks in. So that's why I came up with the product, and I mean, it's doing really, really well because I created it because, you know, people needed it, number one, but number two, you can use it, and instead of guessing how many drops of cleaner you need to put on there to clean the sensor, I have it so that the exact amount of cleaner.
Maybe you should throw this up while you're talking about it.
Yeah, let me see if I can do that. So, you know, so what happens is you can put in there the exact amount of product. So the exact amount of product is already on there, the exact amount of cleaner. So when you go and you clean it, let me see if I pull one up here. Yep, there we go. That's one. Yeah, so that right there is the full frame. Let me see. Then we have APS-C, looks like that. Then we have micro 4/3. So there's one for each one. It doesn't matter, right? So what happens is it has it already on there. You use it, you clean your sensor, then you take the dry and you go over and you have a spotless sensor. Matter of fact, I need to send some of these to you over there. We're gonna have to do that.
I was gonna say you should send some to me to
yeah. I'm gonna have to send. Matter of fact, that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna send some over. I'm gonna get them out there on Monday to you to try out. But anyways, the bottom line here is these type of things are they are rugged. It is not a mirrorless type of camera. I would find it hard to believe that you can take this 5 pound yet, but you could take this Now, I personally think, I want to know your thoughts. I personally think we're going to see mirrorless cameras getting larger over the next 2 years due to the fact that they need to somehow figure out how to dissipate heat without breaking the seal, without having a inlet and an outlet.
This is what people want. People want a 1DX body with the mirrorless technology inside it. That's all they want. Don't make it smaller.
Right.
Just give us that body that everybody wants and just slap in the latest mirrorless technology into it, you know?
No, I agree.
Don't fart around with stupid stuff that people don't need, yeah? Just put in the stuff people want.
Could you imagine doing that? No, it's absolutely the case. Yeah. Absolutely the case. But, you know, all right, let's see what else, what other questions we have in here. Let's see.
I want to stick a link into your website because people are asking about the cleaning kits.
Yeah, let me go and they could just go over to the actual.
Just people like Anders don't read the description of videos.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, if you just go there, you'll be able to just click on them. They're in there. Also, if you want to pick up any
I can take the piss out of Anders because he's my main administrator for my service, so I'm allowed to take the piss.
You're allowed to do it. Let me see if I can find one over here. If I have one. Let's see. Yeah. Well, yeah. This is let's see here. Yeah, so this is kind of what they look like, kind of something like that. Actually, no, this is the wrong one. But the actual cleaners. So these are full frame cleaners. They look like this. So like one of them is dry and one is wet. Is how it comes, and they come sealed, manufacturer sealed, right in the plant, so that they're 100%. Dust-free, lint-free, and whatnot. So it's really simple to be able to do. The bottom line is really simple. But anyways, the idea here is we have, let me see, we have Unbroken says, hey, what was he indicating here? He said, what do you think? What do we miss about the R5 and the cripple hammer striking again? I don't know. Unbroken with the R5. We'll see what ends up happening with that one, because what do you think?
Is on about, but I've never recalled Canon ever crippling any of their cameras before. I don't know what it's on about.
Oh my God!
Canon produce the best cameras, best lenses. If you don't own a Canon, then you must be a mug and buy Sony.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Oh my God!
This is going downhill quickly. This conversation.
Yeah, no, I know. I wish so. Canon is one of those companies.
I'm just going to come out here. And say I wish I was in a monetary situation where I could choose what camera I would want to use. If that makes sense. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the moment, I'll stick with Canon because I have Canon glass and I can't afford to jump ship to some other company that I won't name because people take the piss.
Right.
Meaning CC will take the piss, basically. But yeah, I'll be honest with you. If I had the funding, I would jump ship to a different company right now.
Would you?
The simple fact that I would, because they don't cripple their things. It's the little things, like I was on about with the HDMI thing, and
right.
That. It's the little stuff, But I wouldn't mind trying out some other cameras in the same situation that I use it, just to see, is there a big, massive difference between these cameras? Because a lot of people say, so long as you know what you're doing, you can use any camera.
You know what you should what you should do is you should rent in a Fujifilm GFX 100S and test that thing out with with a macro and see what you get. I think that you would probably be so spoiled that you'll have a very hard time moving away from that medium format.
If we're talking about macro as well, I always wanted to give the Olympus system a try, the Micro Four Thirds camera that they have with their 60mm macro. But they also create a twin macro flash, and the whole lot is rever sealed. The flash is rever sealed, the lens is rever sealed, the body's rever sealed, so you ain't got to worry about anything, I always wanted to give that a go, but then they went and upped and sold themselves, didn't they? So
yeah, what was it? JIP took them over, and then JIP turned it into OM Digital Solutions, and supposedly they're coming out with a new camera. Who the hell knows? We'll see what ends up happening. The same thing with Panasonic. Panasonic, I was just reading recently that they're going to stick with Micro Four Thirds, which they have done absolutely nothing with over the last couple of years. They've been focusing solely on their S series, the latest was the S1H or whatnot. And I mean, I could tell you for certain, if Panasonic would move from just contrast detect to contrast as well as phase detect, like every other damn manufacturer out there, they would crush the video industry completely, because Panasonic understands video inside and out. And their S1H we use sometimes on set for doing just like B stuff, B-roll stuff. And that camera is an amazing camera. The problem is its autofocus is complete shit. Period. I mean, it's just horrible. And if Panasonic
You
is
almost
listening,
got the perfect
stop.
package, almost perfect package, and then there's also always something that lets it down.
Dude, it's their damn autofocus, and it's just I just don't get it. It's like, get it together, man. I mean, I don't know. Is it once again they have to lease something like with log? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Just put phase detect into the damn camera for the love of God already. It's 2021. I just don't understand it. It's such a good system, such a good system. So, I don't know. I mean, if I was to move to any camera as of right now, it would probably be a Fujifilm camera. Not an APS-C, obviously, but maybe an APS-C X, maybe like maybe an H2 when an H2 came out, but more on the lines of the GFX line. Even like a GFX 50R, I would take that all day long. Just for doing like product work, portraiture, stuff like that. The amount of data, the amount of image, it's just crazy. It's like 50 megapixels on a medium format compared to 50 megapixels on, an APS-C or full frame. They're not in the same ballpark. It's a horse of another color completely.
Yeah.
So let me see. Any last questions? If not, we're out of here. We're at an hour 30. I think that's long enough. I'm going to let everyone kind of go about their day. TGIF, guys. Thank God it's Friday. Anyone that's celebrating Easter, happy Easter coming up. Today's Good Friday for those people celebrating it. There's a lot of Jewish holidays obviously going on. I don't really get into all of them, but if it is your thing, then enjoy for by all means. It's food time. It's time to drink, eat, and be merry. That's normally what ends up happening. So, anything else you see in there?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Someone's asking when you'll start selling weed.
Should do that. Let me see, Joe. Have you ever the person a dirt for a specific type of art photography? Yeah. The way I did a shoot where I demoed some of the product and cleaning the sensors. And I was looking into the sensors as far as like what's dirty and what's not. And I did a mirrorless, because I don't have any mirrorless in studio. I remember I did a mirrorless camera that a buddy of mine brought over. And I was looking at it, I'm like, geez, it is so dirty. Whereas like my DSLRs that I clean once a month, they're not as dirty. And I think that goes to what you were saying, Stewart. Your mirrorless, your R series, your R5, your Rs, they get dirty as hell compared to the DSLRs.
I do.
It's just something about it. I think it's just opening it up. Everything just sucks in like a magnet.
The R series has the shutter that closes.
Right. But it doesn't matter.
If I take this off, yeah, you got to, it's got the, let me just see myself. When you take the lens off, the shutter actually closes.
Right.
But if you leave your camera on, it still opens anyway.
Yep.
So I'm like, why didn't you program it? So when I rip the lens off, because I don't turn the camera off when I take the lens off, because I want to change lenses that quick. I don't want to wait for the cycle thing to pair up, yeah?
Right.
So why didn't you do it so that when the lens comes off, you close the thing as well? So mine does get dirty, but again, I'm not one of these people that bubble wraps their equipment. I'm in it to get the shot. If I have to bang the side of the camera off a rock to stabilize it to get the shot, I will do that, but I have noticed that compared to the 80D, I'd say, let's say we're talking money saving,
right?
I'd probably clean the 80D once or twice a year when I was doing macro. This thing, I'm doing it once every month maybe.
Right.
I'm going through swabs like that you can do.
No, it's a big deal.
And
I mean,
actually, on a side note, that's why. That's why half the reason I bought a second EOS R for video was so I didn't have to take the lens off that camera to do video.
Right.
Because dust bunnies, well, you'll know this, they're a piece of piss to clean up in post. But on video, they are an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do.
If you get dust on your sensor for video, there's nothing you're doing about it.
No.
So I got the 35mm lens on the R here now.
Right.
That has never came off that camera since the day I bought it, because I want to keep it
smart.
clean for my video, you know. And then
No,
obviously I have my
absolutely.
second one. This thing, it's got like a love marriage when it comes to sensor cleaning swabs, because it's constantly being cleaned. And you know what annoys me as well is when you clean it, you stick your lens back on, and you take a picture, and you've still got a dust bunny on there.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Where
So
did they come from?
all right. So I'm gonna throw you a little tidbit here, a little tip, and I get this. I would say maybe twice a month. There'll be someone that will write in and say, "Oh, you know, we tried your swabs, and now my sensor is dirtier than it was before." And knowing, you know, how these things work, and actually designing them and going through all the process and formulation and the amount of liquid to the fluid. Anyways, I know that it's not the case. So what happens is, a lot of times, is people will take those swabs and they'll go inside the camera and they're fussing around instead of doing what they should be doing. So normally, let's say you go from like the left side, you hit it up there, and then you pull it to the right, and then you flip it over and then do it again. Let's just say what they do is they fuss around in there and they touch the inside of the camera somewhere. And what people don't know is inside the camera, there is still mechanisms in there that are lubed or have agents on them. So what happens is you get a little dot of
sticky
it.
pads inside.
Absolutely. There's all kinds of crap in there.
When the sensor shakes and it just drops off, it hits the
Right.
pad and it sticks to it.
So when you touch any of that and then go over the sensor, you literally smear the damn sensor.
Yeah.
With like the oils,
And
with the
a lot
stuff.
of people as well clean the sensor first, whereas you should clean the sensor last.
Right.
And also, a lot of people don't clean the end caps of their lens. So if I can demonstrate this, I haven't got a lens cap here at the moment, okay? So you're cleaning your camera, and I've said this multiple times on my channel, okay? You're cleaning your camera, okay? So anybody will go, right, take this off here, okay? There's the lens, there's my adapter, okay? So they're going to clean the sensor. Oh, yeah, that's done. Okay. They then clean the back side and the front side of their lens, slap that back on. Yep, that's all nice and clean. And then what happens when I change lenses is I'm going to take this lens off, put an end cap onto it from, let's say, out my bag, because I don't want the lens getting scratched, okay? And then what happens is all the crap that's in that end cap then transfers to the end of your lens there.
Yeah.
And then you go, oh, I finished with that lens, let's swap it back over. You then get that lens, slap it back onto your body, and lo and behold, your sensor's dirty again because you didn't clean your end caps.
Absolutely.
So I got a procedure that I do. I strip everything down. So I'll take the lens and everything off the body. I'll take the lens caps and the end caps off, and I'll clean the lens cap and the end caps first, put them down, facing down on the desk, so no dust can go back into it, okay? They go off to the side. Then I do the lens, the back side of the lens, then take that same end cap that I've just cleaned, put them back onto the lens, and then I do the sensor last. That is the last thing I do, because I use my dust blower to blow everything out that's loose already there, then clean the sensor, and that works pretty well. But yes, I'm surprised the amount of people that don't realise it.
Yeah, and they don't realize that. Exactly. So anyways, we're going to get off here. It's like an hour 45, I think it is, right around now. So we're going to
we can rant weekend, can't we?
Oh yeah, we can go on for another couple of hours. So I want to just say that thanks to everyone for being here, hanging out at the end of the week, just relaxing. Once again, TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. We're just kind of just hanging out and chatting about.
Let me throw something at you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Why don't we one of these Fridays do a critique show?
We can do it. Absolutely.
Yeah,
we can do it.
Show. I can critique the macro. You can critique the portrait and stuff.
Yeah, we can do that. That would be kind of good. So we'll put it out there.
People will find that quite good. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. We can do that maybe next week. And what we'll do is, what I'll do is,
I'll be doing my live stream.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I don't think I want to do back-to-back live stream next week.
What we could do is we could do it the following week, and we'll have like an entire 2 weeks. I'll put it out there on Monday, And I'll just have people upload their images that they want reviewed onto the wall over on the Discord server. I'll just put that out there. So if any of you guys have not been over there, so I'll put this down here below. Go over to community.JCristina.com. When you're there at community.JCristina.com, it's our creative Discord server. Go there, sign up. It's free. You'll see Stewart over there. There's hundreds and hundreds of us there hanging out 24/7, basically. There's always someone there talking tech, talking photo, video, whatever. Anyways, there is a channel there called The Wall. What I'll do is I'll put it so that all the images that show up on the wall between, let's say, Monday and then the following Friday or whatever, those will get the critiques. So anyone that comes in live will talk about we'll pull that one image and we'll be able to show it here on the channel and then critique it and give any type of advice. So I think that would be an easy way to do it. I like that. I like it. I think we should do it. And then what I'll do also, we were talking about cleaning your sensors and stuff. What I'll do is whoever we do critique, what I'll do is we'll pick, randomly one or two people and I'll send out one of these kits. So instead of you having to pick it up on Amazon or B&H, photo and video or on the website or whatever, I'll send you a kit for free. So whoever we, gets, let's say...
I can send a couple of my products as well, like the presets or...
Yeah, that would be kind of cool. And you know how we could do it too is we'll look at the ones and then we'll take a look at who gets, let's say, most thumbs ups or most stars or whatever, on the actual wall itself, because people can critique other people's work by giving thumbs up. So that's a good way to do it too. So I think that's good. I like to be able to give away as much as possible whenever possible. So we'll do that. I like that. It's a great idea. Great idea. So, but anyways, we're going to go ahead and close out. What I want to do is I want you to tell people where they can find you, also where to find you live coming up next week. And I will go ahead and throw that up on the screen too, so people can see it right now. There we go. I'll move you
the best way to catch me is on my website, which is stewartwood.com. That's STEW, stewartwood.com. Links to all my social media is there. Next Friday, I am doing a Laura live stream about 5 subjects to photograph at home. So catch me there. And I think it's going to be fun because a lot of this stuff I've not done before. So I'm going to be showing you how to do it. And hopefully, I've got a different format I'm going to cover for this live stream. So hopefully it'll be interesting rather than just looking at still pictures. There's going to be video as well. Hopefully.
Right. So
we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, that's right. We'll see what ends up happening. Is it?
If it doesn't work, I'll just wing it. It'll be okay.
Just wing it. That's the best way to do it. I don't even know. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for being here. Really do appreciate you hanging out once again with us. It's been a long one, I know, but at least we were able to hang out and talk and kind of answer some things here and there. So that's kind of good. We're going to continue doing this whenever possible, but look forward to this critique. I'm excited about it. I think it'll be kind of cool for sure. So look at going over to, once again, community.jcristina.com. If you want to pick up any of the products besides those that we're talking about, the lens cleaner, there's a lot of them over at jcristina.com. Check that out. You can also use promo code YT20 at checkout. You can do that. Also, give this video a thumbs up. In the comment area, put your comments. Once this video is done, I'm going to leave it in the video side of things, but also I'm going to save it into the permanent, let's say, videos in comparison to just live. So there'll be 2 versions of it. So hopefully people see it there and add some comments in there also. So anyways, that's it. We'll see you in the next one. Many blessings to each and every one of you. Have an awesome, awesome day and a great weekend. Take care, guys.
See you later.